And we are live. Welcome to Mountain Bears. I'm Aeson Knight, and of course, with me is Techy Joe. How are you, darling?
I'm doing great this evening. It is not Friday night. You have not fallen into into a time warp. This is not the Twilight Zone. You are not seeing us on a Friday night. This is a Saturday night. Let it not confuse your weekend. Do not show up late for work on Monday morning and blame us. Thanks.
Yeah, we had a little situation. Uh, and unfortunately, Asa had to go be a son, which kind of tops everything except being a husband. Um, and take his mommies and stuff. So that took a while because, she didn't call me at 4. She called me at 8.
Well, yeah, we were literally like grabbing a bite to eat. We were gonna come back, eat, take a lovely leisurely pre-talk of news stories, and hop on. And we are picking up our food, and my phone rings,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, "Hello," and she's like, "I don't have power." What? Like, yeah, it's been off for a while. Oh my god.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we need a few things like, food, water, flashlights. Wait, what do you mean you need flashlights? Like, how did that happen?
Well, what I don't get is the woman took my lantern when she moved out. She took my big flashlight. She took my flashlight that made it look like day. I don't know what she's done with them. She may have passed them out the last time the power went out.
Well,
Yeah,
kind-hearted doesn't always mean you get your stuff back.
I know. I'm going to start.
It's
I'm telling you, she keeps it up. I'm going to put tracing little stickers like on um, the grocery store.
little asset tags,
Yes.
for like, oh god, what is it, Rent-A-Center and all the others that they
No,
can be.
I'm going even low techner. I'm going to do the Dollar General sticker on the bottom, and that way when it goes to the door, it kicks the Alexa on, and you hear my voice. Drop it. It does not leave the apartment. Drop it. It does not
Oh
leave the apartment.
my god, you're gonna do anti-theft tag setup for your mother's apartment door?
Yes.
No. Oh my god. But if the power's out,
I know.
now I have to come up with a whole backup power solution for the hers.
You do because those
Brilliant.
well, those, especially for her, has become invaluable. We have had the debate over the hers and the hims, and I'm getting closer to getting the hims.
Well, yeah, that's kind of that when we've talked about that a little bit on the show.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to talk about that some more this evening.
Yeah.
But no, that's no, I don't know that in the 21st century that is an A1 priority. And if it were, please remember we have it on the phones.
I know.
You have the app version.
I know. I have the app version. I love the app version. I use the app version in the car. Problem is that every time she restarts her phone, the app version doesn't activate so that I can reach her by her phone.
Well,
that would probably convince her that I am semi-super god.
Well, but yeah, no, unfortunately, though, you can't do drop-in on phones.
I know.
Like, that's the unfortunate part, is like you can do a drop-in from your phone.
And have.
But you can't vice versa it.
Yeah. And I really am convinced sometimes she has decided not to answer her phone when I call, just so that I can drop in and she can show it off to her friends.
No, actually, the last time I was over and had to repair her, because there was a networking issue. Again, from a power loss, which we need to check in on her with that.
Will do.
But yeah, it's now behind a speaker. So because she had a neighbor that was giving her kind of grief with it, so,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's been hidden.
Well,
Yeah. That
again,
way it wasn't like, because this neighbor was coming in, and bless her heart, her someone in her family, if you're looking for like Christmas ideas, get that poor woman some internet and her, because that was the greatest entertainment to this woman, was talking. Like, she got it, she was on it,
mm-hmm.
got it. I totally, and she totally embraced it. To the point that it became annoying to
Yeah,
your mother, because she would just like stand there all day
right.
and
And
be like, do this, do that, do this other thing, play this, play that, play this, play this, play this.
yeah,
Your mom was like, go away.
I do think that we are going to have to put her in Mom's bedroom. The more and more I think about it.
Well, not the camera one.
No, the Dodd. I don't want the camera one.
Hey, Mom, what did you do?
Please. That would not be my reaction. My reaction would be making Bendy's back a little more before he throws it out.
I didn't say that noise was coming from you.
Oh.
Good Lord. Like, she understands drop in. By God, she's going to know what that means.
Uh-huh. She knows what drop in is. She has done it to the office.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Oh,
she is making the news in the UK because this is a feature we use often in both the house and Mom's apartment.
meanwhile, hi, Shannon. Hi, Alexandria. Sorry. But yes, no, we do. We have been guard fans. We like that little feature. It's been in the US for a little while now. The UK, however, has been like, hello, we would like this. It finally started appearing there 5 days ago, guys. 5 days ago. It dropped in the US. Everyone went, install. And has since been removed, citing vague, mysterious concerns about this not that basically it was not intended to be released in the UK, that it in kind of vaguely alluding to it couldn't be, that it should not be available in that market. So Amazon sent a lovely, oh, we have totally uninstalled that for you. Here's £10.
Mm-hmm.
You know, for your inconvenience. 5 days.
Yep.
They got it. Yes. Well, see, but here's my thing, though, is like, I have privacy concerns with that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if we're talking small kids, I'm okay with that. Just FYI. I'm cool with that for like little kids, and you have the announcements, which are awesome, and those aren't the same as drop in. But no, I like, as you start getting older, it's like, come on. Like, that's my only thing. That's the only thing I'll ever say there is like, you know, like, I'm not too big on the drop in when, yeah. Well, true. Understandable.
Yeah. And do you have the dot or these, what are they? Spots.
Well, yeah. Well, but even the spot, it's like,
Wow.
yeah, they can't hear me from the kitchen. Yeah. Hey, that happens in this house.
Yeah. That happened in their house.
Like, our house is not that big.
Right.
Minus a couple of walls, I could throw stuff right at him and hit him.
Minus a few walls, and I can throw stuff. I don't need walls.
But yes,
Yeah.
no, stuff happens here. It's like totally got it. Yes. Hi, Kathy. Yeah, we sometimes have oops moments. It's scary.
Yep.
But yeah.
But yeah, so
Ooh. They have the dots and the knockoff big speaker. Now, are we talking about the big monster speaker, or are we talking about the even bigger studio, the one with the cutout um, for the bass, like the multi speaker omnibus device, like the Oompa Oompa? Just curious which knockoff it is. And we already have a question. Wow. Yeah. So finish wrapping up really quick. Guard has been kicked out of the UK again. Ha ha. It's not available there now again. We still don't have any answers from Amazon as to why, though. There's a lot of options there.
Yeah. I like the guard feature. I hope to keep it.
Okay, so yeah, and Alexandria's was just the regular like full size speaker. So
Sure.
yeah, cool. Sorry, I'm tacky like that. Yeah. Ooh. So did you? Okay, so now I have to geek out. Did you get the her tune so you could hook to that surround system and have that like full effect, or did you just go with the little speakers? So we'll let that filter in. All right, and we have a question, if I didn't lose it, from Jessica. 11978. Will my son ever get better?
Okay,
And rock on, Alexandria.
okay. Sorry, Jessica. There was something else the cards wanted to talk about, and I'm like, we'll deal with that later. Looking at your son getting better, the answer is yes. I feel that he does. With the Four of Cups sitting in here, it shows that a lot of this has to be worked out slowly. You want to take your time. He wants to take his time working in recovery. Okay? And getting better in general. It's not going to be an easy, instant process. Okay, I hope that answered your question, Jessica.
Okay, and what popped out?
It started talking about a relationship, and I'm like, she didn't ask about a relationship.
Okay, is it good news or bad news? Like, I'm going to ask for Jessica right here.
Yeah, it's good news. It's just that this wasn't the question. And sometimes the tarot does that. They want to talk about something else, and it's like, no, give me what I asked.
Well, I'll be your booby, and or be Jessica's booby, and be like, no. Let's talk about maybe Jessica needs good news. Maybe she's been a
The
little like,
relationship, I'll put it this way. If she's in a relationship, it's going to get a lot more serious and more comfortable. If she isn't in a relationship, then it's going to take a step up to be in one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good deal. So, wow. Back to Alexandria. Yeah, you did the whole big setup. You're very welcome, Jessica.
All right. So we did get some distressing news over the week. We lost two very big stars. One is Olivia de Havilland, who was one of the oldest Hollywood
Olivia
stars.
de Havilland.
Yeah, there you go.
104 years old.
And was acting till 103.
And we all have to love her. And she even has a legal rule named after her, the de Havilland Law, in which you cannot extend someone's contract in Hollywood just because you didn't work them. Which was the whole argument she had to go to court with, Warner Brothers for? Yeah. Warner
Yeah.
Brothers. Yeah, so Betty Davis, I think, technically lost her case against Warner. Like, I don't think she won, really. It was like they fought it out. I think Betty Davis lost, and then Warner Brothers just didn't want her.
No, actually, she won the case.
I thought Betty Davis lost. I really did.
No, she won the case. She got her freedom from the contract. And also, I believe, got her renewals.
Right, but they were having like, this was old Hollywood. This was roughly about the same time, though.
Yeah.
That, like, Warner was like, a lot of the things Warner was doing and other studios were doing were really bad for locking actors and actresses into contracts, especially their actresses.
Mm-hmm.
They were kind of trying to hold on to the draw power of those actresses.
Yeah.
But yes, and Kathy, we just need a date of birth, and we'll be happy to get right to your question.
Yep.
But yeah, so Olivia de Havilland, an amazing force in Hollywood, still sharp as ever at 104.
Uh-huh.
Sued over feud.
Uh-huh.
Yes, or she sued. Sorry, let me clarify just so that's not because I was unclear. She sued because Ryan Murphy put words in her mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, oh, hell no. 104. She is like, oh, hell no.
Mm-hmm.
I'm calling my lawyers. I will rip you apart.
Yeah.
She did lose that case, however.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but, you can't win them all.
But again, she stood up, with the, you can't, put words in my mouth. You can't change what history, and I really respect a lot of her acting. Granted, she was known for Gone with the Wind, but she was also known for a lot of other ones, including working with Hitchcock, who was an amazing director.
Yes. Well, and you've also got to look at the career of Olivia de Havilland and realize how much of that was influenced by Warner holding her back.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've also got to look at some of the fortitude she had, because everyone else, every actress trying to get a part in Gone with the Wind wanted to play the lead.
Mm-hmm.
And she showed up and did not.
Right.
She wanted to play the supporting character. Best Supporting Actress was what she was nominated for, with the first, because Gone with the Wind was like a sweep for the Oscars. But with she was co-nominated for the same movie with the first Black actress to ever win that award.
Right.
And I think it shows a lot of Olivia de Havilland's character. She was absolutely, like, devastated she did not win that award. And then turned that around and went, but you know what? It's kind of amazing that I didn't, and that I lost this award. And the first Black actress to get this, my co-star, got it. So I think that says a lot, that, like, she could take, because, I mean, actresses and actors often, like, get stuck in their own self.
Right.
Because we saw that with, like, the Betty Davis, Joan Crawford issue over whatever happened to Baby Jane.
Right. But
there was a lot of animosity there.
Well, it was animosity afterwards. On the set, however, it wasn't.
I'm just talking about the awards nomination.
Oh, yeah.
They put up Betty Davis. They said no on Joan Crawford. Because Joan Crawford only wanted to be nominated as Best Actress, not Best Supporting Actress. Meanwhile, she's the one that gave the lead away to Davis.
Right.
Like, from the beginning, because she didn't want to play the hag.
Right. And see, here's the thing, and you brought up a really good point that's kind of reflecting into our current times.
Mm-hmm.
Gone with the Wind has been pulled away from a lot of things because of its subject matter. But no one's talking about the groundbreaking things that it did.
Well, yes, but then there's also a lot of the things that it represented. Like, it's hard on Gone with the Wind
Mm-hmm.
because, on one hand, you're glorifying a fanciful Old South.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, because of the movie, a lot of wonderful things happen.
Right.
It's kind of like, what was the overall net effect of Gone with the Wind is what you ultimately have to ask. What
Mm-hmm.
was the overall net effect of
Mm-hmm.
Gone with the Wind? And for those of you who may not have heard this in a previous show, my grandmother actually saw Gone with the Wind in theater. And I asked her, like an idiot, did I ask her, oh my God, like that struck me. Because it's like, she saw the original release in theater. And so I asked my grandmother, what was that like? Long. Her whole commentary on Gone with the Wind and seeing it in theater. Because, like, I understand it's a gorgeous movie, technically. It is a beautifully choreographed, architect, beautiful fantasy story. It
One
is.
of the first Technicolors, one of the first color movies,
Mm-hmm.
and one of the first African American actors to win not only a nomination but an award. Uh, one of the biggest grossing pictures internationally. I mean, there's a lot of things with Gone with the Wind um, that was changing Hollywood, even in the underground.
But then there's the flip side of it. Is
Mm-hmm.
how much of the movie, though, and its popularity glorifying the Old South had a net negative impact. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's where a lot of, like, the debate gets hung up, is if you're talking about outside the movie, the cast, the characters, the people working on the movie, the careers, the awards, the firsts, the recognitions, yeah, it did amazing things. But then there's also this ability to get lost in this and believe that this was the Old South and it was just all so pretty. And, it wasn't that bad.
Mm-hmm.
That, like, when you're talking about slavery and when we're talking about other issues.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that's where I get hung up on that, is that it's like, what was the total net effect? So, yeah, anyway, we have kept Kathy in suspense.
Okay, let's go for Kathy.
Yes, so Kathy, 728 of 62.
Mm-hmm.
Is my malpractice going to go through soon? Uh, mm,
Understand, I am not a lawyer. I feel that it does go through. I feel like it does offer some changes and things do work itself out. I would look for messages or communication coming from this whole situation within the next 2 weeks.
okay, wow. All right. And just side note, I was a little hesitant to name the attorney involved.
Yeah.
Just like, that's
I
extraneous.
saw the attorney. I didn't need the name.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So we also got to notice another show that I'm actually a big fan of is Hey Queen. And they recently lost Lady Red Couture, co host, trans activist, known as the largest live singing drag queen in captivity. She's now freed. There's a lot of questions over, if it was her, one of her sickle cell vomiting syndrome, or if it was something else. She was doing really well, and then it was a quick crash back, and she crossed over.
Well, and there's a lot of opportunity for that right now.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the hidden dangers that we're having with COVID-19.
Yeah.
Is that a lot of people's regularly scheduled doctor's appointments have been moved around and reshuffled.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of doctors, for patients that seem to be doing well, are moving them to telehealth, and maybe not always the best solution for every patient. We're running into situations where people are having symptoms but afraid, or having some kind of symptoms,
Right. Well, what was
related to a condition they have.
Right. What happened was she had been in the hospital for a number of weeks. That's the reason they were running reruns. On like Tuesday, Johnny had tweeted out that she was doing really well, and they were looking at getting her out of ICU and getting her into a regular room. And then by the weekend, she had decided that she was leaving the world.
Well, borrowing a horrible old movie line, a lady always knows when it's time to leave.
Right. Okay, so we're rocking through this tonight.
Yes. And Kathy says thank you and always wishing you the best. And we would like to say hello to Jessica and Terry. And Alexandria has a comment real quick. Speaking of COVID, thoughts on me returning to school and what that might look like. I've gone to our union and write the reopening community. Are they listening? Will it be good? Date of birth 5/31/85.
All right. I'm gonna have to divide this out because one is my thoughts and the other is the reading.
Yeah. Always a challenge.
Yeah. So we'll deal with the reading first. I feel that they are listening to you, although you may not get everything you need. Looking at it, we've got the Five of Cups here. You don't want to go back in this situation. Even though you want to teach, you want to take care of your kids, you're trying. You're kind of forced to not do what you want. You're researching and trying to put things together. With the Page of Wands there, the Ace of Swords as the new battle comes on, and the final outcome is the Hangman, which is sacrificing. So are they listening? Yes. Will it be good? It'll be okay. It won't be the ideal situation. Now I'm going to stop the psychic side and do a little talking. Things that I would put in place if I was a teacher going back into the COVID-19 situation and could not go virtual. One, I would wear like scrubs to work and create a space in your garage where you walk in and strip down. Do not take that to the house. Tell the children stay out of this corridor till I get my shower. Treat it very much like you are working in a hospital or an ER. Gloves, masks. Constantly, I think it's going to be difficult to keep children, especially children that have like sensory overload, to be dealing with this. Please, I really think teachers need face shields and masks, both, because children touch everything. They talk more moisture. Their mouths get all ooey gooey booey.
Yeah, that's a serious concern, is whether there will actually be enough PPE to even do this.
Right.
Because that's not like a crazy concern. Like, just everyone out there has got to get that on that page. Is we've had a lot of false starts in this whole thing of trying to secure PPE.
Mm-hmm.
And if, like, here's the thing, is if there's enough to start the school year, but with the idea you're going to keep buying more and that supply chain is going to run nice, smooth, and even, and then whether it's because we start the school year or just in general, we ramp up again,
Mm-hmm.
we're going to have more usage and more demand on that PPE, and it may very well have a lag before it hits the classroom, but then it does.
Right.
And I don't think we're prepared to like shut it down fast enough.
No.
That teachers aren't standing there like, "Hi, help."
But I know nobody's talking about this. Teachers are used to getting up, getting professionally dressed, going to school, looking nice, heels and all that. This is not the time for that. This is time to hit a Goodwill, hit a nurse's supply store, hit a Gabe's, pick you up 20 uniforms. Mm-hmm. They are colorful, they are changeable, they are wonderful. And I'm going to say this, and it's going to sound very old school, get you a hamper and put it in your garage. Also pick you up some, and you can get this out of your closet, crappy t-shirts and shorts or whatever that's easy for you to change into. In the morning, get up, wear a scrub to school. When you come home from school, preferably when you come home, before you come home from school, you get out of that scrub and throw on your gym clothes. You have a gym membership or something like that, that's even better. You need to immediately hit the shower. There's no stopping at Kroger's. There's no going to Walmart. You get to the closest shower you can use. If you're in a high school or what used to be a high school, there's showers there. I think teachers should have the gym access rooms made available to them to immediately shower after they're done dealing with students, and hot antibacterial water, antibacterial soap, then go home. That way it cuts down on the transmission.
Basically, and saying this sort of from West Virginia, side note, basically take it like mining. Like, coal miners get up, get dressed for work, they go to the mines, they work all day, and used to be, most would shower at the mines before leaving and have a change of clothes. If not, go straight home. And in many households, and like my grandparents was one of them, one of the earlier houses, they actually put in a second bathroom. Yeah. For the sole purpose that my grandmother was like, I ain't cleaning up coal dust every freaking day. Mm-hmm. Because you came in covered in it and tracked it all over my pretty house. Mm-hmm. You'll go in through the basement, you will take off your clothes, you will take a shower, and none of this crap comes upstairs.
Right.
So, basically take that approach or that would be our hope for you.
Right.
Is to be able to take that approach.
Right. Because I know how direct contact that special ed teachers have, even mild special ed teachers have with their students. They have to be hands-on. They can't be teaching behind a partition or a sealed cube. Elementary teachers are in the same boat. Kids are going to touch, kids are going to run. If you have scrubs and have backup scrubs and have gym clothes or runoff clothes, then you can at least change your environment. And this is what we've done during the MRSA outbreak in the early 90s.
Yeah. And hi, MG. Sorry, I didn't mean to leave you out there. But I don't... I have a lot of problems with this going back right now. I do understand why some areas, again, speaking from West Virginia, we have a lot of rural areas without internet access, without cellular access, in which you can give these students all the devices you want, but they have no connection.
Right.
Like
Now,
this is like, and there's no good solution right now
well,
within these counties for a no connection student.
right. But for the teachers, and she,
Mhm.
I understand you're nervous. It is, in my opinion, that as the teacher, if you take precautions, if you wear your PPE, if you monitor yourself and your contact, and you limit your exposure outside of your bubble that your PPE creates, that there is an ability there to do it safely. But you're going to have to literally copy what the UK doctors are doing.
Yeah. Well, and she's saying no matter what, she has to work face to face with her students. There's
Exactly.
just no options there.
Right.
And she's already considering applying to other jobs in the district,
Yeah.
but afraid to.
I
So,
wouldn't apply. I think that you need to stand your ground where you're at. I would, however, be hitting the Amazon market and ordering the face shields. We sell them at Staples. Like, I would not count on, you don't count on your district to buy you pencils. Don't count on your district to give you PPE. Have your own. That way you know it. You know where it is. You know what it is. And then if they provide it for you, great. If they don't, you still have it.
yeah. And I do want to abuse Alexandria real quick, and that sounds horrible as a sentence. But I was reading a story this past week, which is really heartbreaking, and I'm not putting her specifically on the spot. Like, what have you done? But just to hear from a teacher, one, if she's aware of the article, two, if she knows other teachers that are doing this, and three, like try to barometer gauge where everyone's at with that. But apparently a lot of teachers are in preparation, in their return to school preparation, are effectively getting their final affairs in order. Like they're treating it like they're going in for, your doctor just told you have a terminal illness, that, get your affairs in order. Like make your pre-need burial arrangement, get your will together, make sure you have life insurance, make sure that you have done everything you can do, and have your advance directive ready. So,
and then I want to address her last comment here.
Okay.
She'll be lucky if she has a job after this. I disagree. I think that we are seeing so many teachers.
Federal government mandating we have our final wills.
Mm-hmm.
God.
I think that we will have a very big lack of teachers because people will walk out. They won't put up with this. They won't put up with the treatment. They won't put up with, if they're close to retirement, if they've hit that, what we used to call the 80-20 goal, they will probably not return.
Well, and there are teachers that are doing that they're looking at the situation going, I've put in my years. I thought I could keep doing this for a while, but I can't take the risk.
Right.
And they are retiring.
Massive retirement or massive, you know what? I do real estate in the summer. I can do it in the winter.
Well, but now as a millennial, I have to kick in here real quick and go, this might not, and I'm not looking at deaths. I'm not. That's not where my comment is. Don't ever throw that at me, anyone, ever. I'm talking about retirements. COVID-19 as a spur for people to go, hey, go ahead and take that retirement now, please. Thank you. That's a lot of, from the millennial side, and especially as an older millennial, a lot of what we ran into when we started trying to enter the workplace and advance was that there were a lot of people that, as we've changed what retirement means, and a lot of people are working to older and older ages, we start seeing some limited opportunities. That as we're watching baby boomers still in the marketplace with Gen Xers slamming right up against them, like it was kind of like watching a train wreck. Because so many people that one would have assumed could retire at 65 kept going and are now, for instance, moving into their 80s. Then you have the Gen Xers that thought they were going to be moving into these higher level positions that got kind of stuck because this other group didn't retire on time. And now you have another group coming in with another one behind us that are just, it's all creating a pileup.
Right.
It literally in the
plan for teachers was they would teach until it equals 80. It's normally their age plus their years of service. So if a teacher hit out of college at 24, they should be able to retire at 56. Was the original plan, but a lot of teachers kept doing it because of the children. And I'm going to say this, if you can retire as a teacher, your union should be accessing and helpful to you to retire now. You can come back as a sub when this shit is over.
Well, but then there's the flip side of it, is that if I remember correctly, at least in some school districts, or in some states, more importantly, they're set up that, yeah, you can retire with full benefits at this point, but if you keep working, those additional years are only going to help you. Right. As in, like, now you're putting, like, you're increasing that payout.
Right.
And because you're contracting it, the number of years the payout has to be done in. Not that the Mercer County School Board, honestly, I think they'd given up hope my grandmother was going to die. And that sounds horrible, but let me explain. My grandmother retired in 1984. She did not pass until 2017.
Right.
They paid out. Now, granted, she, because of the number of years she worked and, the age she retired at, it wasn't a lot of money. Like, she took the long-term option, like the forever. It was a smaller payment, but no one accounted for this. Same for UMWA. She was a miner's widow. Like, my grandfather retired in 84. Haha, this is how she retired in 84. Is he got tired. So my grandfather retires, and within 6 years, he passed. And then they paid her out for the net from then on as a mine widow.
All right. Within 2 years, we are have a larger teacher shortage than we already do.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
But yes, and we did have a question come in. I don't mean to ignore that.
Okay.
So Terry, hi. 31357. Will Mark ask me to marry? He has been talking every time. I'm a little confused on the last part. I think the important part of the question is, will Mark ask me to marry? I'm going to go out on a limb. Will Mark ask me to marry? He has been... No. Beer. He has beer...
Talking. He has been...
Sorry, I didn't catch. This was a little bit confusing.
Yes, talking every time.
Let me see if we have a new update as we're reading this. Terry, if you want to do any corrections, please chime in. Sorry, I should have reread that.
I don't
Um,
feel so. I feel, however, that he proposes long-term relationship because it's looking at saving and keeping things together as the future, him being more communicative, and him having issues in marriage in the past.
okay.
Yeah,
Alrighty. Hopefully that helps. So sorry, we were having some issues with the back half of that question.
right.
So yeah. But alrighty. But so I think we have another article. Yes, we have one more.
Okay. Which one are we going after? Princeton Healthcare or just the
Prin-
lack of healthcare?
Well, I missed the you kind of mumble or you got kind of distorted on that last one. So Princeton Healthcare Center.
Well, we need to back up because Princeton Healthcare Center
Oh,
isn't the
we've
main
got two.
story.
Do I now?
Princeton Healthcare Center isn't the main story.
I know it's not the main story, but it's the setup to the main story.
Okay, go
Like,
for it.
let's get there first. So, Princeton Healthcare Center has had an outbreak that is located in Princeton, West Virginia, and Mercer County. Has had an outbreak of cases. You might have seen this in the news if you're local. And there was some commentary that this had to do with travel to Myrtle Beach. There was a lot kind of kicked around. It originally kicked up with, I believe, 12 patients and 19 staff, or I may have that backwards. And effectively now is up to 38 cases.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, that's not even our main story. That's your background. All right. So, yeah, that happened. And, so there were media statements made. It got a little ugly when the Princeton Healthcare Center administrator, Stephanie Compton, popped in to say, we understand per a media release that it has been determined that our COVID outbreak is related to travel to the Myrtle Beach area. That information has not been given to PHCC by any health officials. After an employee tested positive for COVID-19 earlier in July, our team requested assistance in mass testing from local and state health officials on and before July 7th, 2020. We were denied such testing per local and state health officials. We were also told in writing by a regional epidemiologist, quote, at this time, our outbreak guideline does not recommend to do the repeat testing of staff and residents, and the state lab would not be able to handle those specimens, end quote. Our team called other labs to try to secure mass testing as well. We were unable to do the testing on our own because the labs in our area/state were backlogged and they at the time did not have the supplies that were needed. Hi. That's the story.
Right. And
Now, you think that's the end? In the wake of that horror freak show, because talk about throwing down the gauntlet and pouring gravy all over it. Go for it.
the whole health board resigned.
Half the health board resigned.
Half the health board resigned.
Yeah. The chairman of the health board and two representatives have all resigned. Mm-hmm. There's, I believe, 3 representatives left on that board. If I remember my numbers correctly,
2.
I think it's 2. I thought it was 6 people.
Well, at one time it was 6 and 1 was removed, so at least 5.
Okay, well, yeah, but then they added. That's how I believe Stacy Hicks, which is he's with Princeton Rescue Squad
Mm-hmm.
was pulled onto that board. Not that I'm against that decision. I'm like, yeah, that's a very important person to have involved in your health board. I can see that. But yes, we've seen mass resignation, and most of those are being touted as, we hope they can find, people they can work with effectively, is what's being said, is that they couldn't come together. So that leaves a lot of questions for the remaining health board members. In terms of, is it we just got rid of the bad ones, or the bad ones just ran the good ones off? I don't know.
Well, my question is why are they even being told, no, we don't need to come do that, when they're already running mass testing?
Right. Well, and that's been a priority in West Virginia. More importantly, that has been a massive priority because we've been very accommodating to the fact that this is very harmful on the elderly, that nursing homes are a giant cluster of elderly, and that it doesn't take much within these institutions to start seeing mass casualty.
Right.
That this can get very, very bad.
Right.
But yes. So that is a story with many twists and turns. It is a game of chutes and ladders right now. We have no idea where that one's going to end up.
Right. Well, and here's the bigger issue of it all.
Mm-hmm.
Is that we need to, these health boards were originally created for outbreaks. They were originally created to control typhoid and tuberculosis. This is what they were designed to do. This is all they were supposed to be designed to do, was this that we are experiencing right here. They branched out. They started doing smoker cessation and this and that and other things and all these other things.
And not all of the not all of those are bad, because when you look at the Mercer County Health Department, they have done a lot with reproductive health in terms of birth control, STD testing, condom handout, as well as baby checks, vaccinations, and there was one more I was going to say, and I can't remember what it is. Gynecological exams, general health, and that's just like what I know of the Mercer County Health Department. Right. I will say that they are amazing in the services they have provided to that community. I cannot fault them for their clinical nature. Like, they're amazing at that. They do a lot.
That's the county nurses and county health department. I'm talking about the county health board. They were designed
part of the Mercer County Health Department.
Right. But, and they touted, they pushed for the non-smoking in restaurants and non-smoking in public buildings. They were the one passing those regulations, but they can't seem to stand up and pass regulations about mask wearing. They can't seem to stand up and enforce that and go ahead and shut down these outbreak centers. They can't seem to respond to outbreaks and requests for testing at nursing facilities that they're supposed to be maintaining. It's under their governmental obsession. And, I can't be somewhere where they don't have faith in me. You're not doing your job that you were designed to do.
Well, but therein lies the question, is upon which side are the resigning board members on? Are they trying to be the force of change to help stem the tide? Or are they on the other side of this argument going, well, we don't really want to do that. We don't want to be oppressive, and we don't want to do mandates. Like, which side are these board members on?
Right, because we're seeing
because obviously
health boards.
Like what's been said though is they couldn't come together and work together. Like these three are effectively all saying the same thing. They can't work with the rest of the board. Why?
Right.
Which side of it, or is that not even the discussion at all? Like, that's my other question or is that nothing to do with it, and it's just like a personal animosity thing? Right. And it's just like, you know what, I don't need this in my life right now.
Right.
And it's like,
well, what I'm noticing, and I'm sure you should be noticing too, is we don't see the rescue squad dude stepping down that was added.
Well, so far, I mean, that's the other concern in this, is that there's also been a lot of pressure on health boards in terms of, let's just call it conservative outrage, that this is a hoax, that these county health boards have no right, and you're trampling on our rights, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So the directors, especially of county health departments, county health boards, have taken a lot of flack, in addition to the state health board, has taken a lot of flack from people protesting any kind of face mask requirement, any kind of testing, any kind of efforts to curtail the spread of COVID-19. So again, it leaves a lot of balls in the air as to like what was the kicker in this. That I don't feel like, because conversely, there's also the part of, I'm just not the charismatic leader you need right now. Like point blank. Is it, I'm a scientist, I am a data person, I am a doctor. I can sit here and talk to you as a medical professional. I can't go down this rabbit hole and figure out how to charismatically bring these people into understanding that if you don't start wearing a fucking mask, we're going to see a lot more spread, a lot more death, and we're going to look back on 150,000 dead and go, well, that was quaint.
Well, it comes with them actually using the state laws. And each state has the same laws that were put into action in 1980 something, but the originals were 1918 to 1920. And it called for the health department, giving them access to go into any building, shut down any building, and arrest and detain anybody they needed to for a health concern. That means you pull your, lovely little BMW off the check up to Lowe's, you buy some padlocks and some chains, and you drive out to these outbreaks and start shutting them down. Or these places that refuse to operate mandate. Shut them down. It ain't that hard.
But again, I think you may have board members on multiple county health boards, not specifically even talking about, Mercer County. But I think you have a lot of nervous people right now in terms of, but if we do that, have you seen the protests in Michigan? Have you seen the number of armed, angry, incapable of understanding because they are happier with their conspiracy theories protesters? And do you potentially do these things and make it worse? Because now you have protests. Like before, you had people sitting at home angry and grumbling and, Facebooking they're crazy. Now They're leaving their homes heavily armed to the teeth, not wearing masks, and showing up to protest in groups without social distancing, not giving a fuck.
Yeah, and we're not using our resources. Alexander leads me into my next one. Portland is a disgrace. Last night was the first night of peaceful protest they've had in 3 weeks, thanks to federal agents inciting it. Federal agents were replaced by state police doing their job, and we didn't have any violence. We didn't have any flash bombs. We didn't have any tear gas. We didn't have any injuries. There should not be federal agents in the streets of America. Federal agents are here to prosecute federal crimes.
Well,
graffiti is not a federal crime.
Well, and pause, but you also, like, these aren't just federal agents. It's not like the FBI showing up and going, hi, we're the FBI. Unmarked vans, unmarked uniforms, no clue who's picking you up off the street, no advisements of rights, taken to undisclosed locations, not given access to an attorney. Like, there are layers to that onion. Yeah. And then potentially being charged with resisting because, I don't know, some dude just jumped out of an unmarked vehicle and randomly grabs me, and says, you are under arrest. I don't know. I'm kind of there with anyone who's like, get your hands off of me. Let me help you do that. Because that's where I'm going to be.
Right.
Like, that's where I'm going to be, is like, no, I don't see a police car. I don't see any identification. I don't have a clue. So I don't know if you actually are authorized to arrest me, if you're an actual person capable of doing that for reasons, or if you are someone that is decided to take advantage of this situation and let's have a good old-fashioned lynching. And my body may be recovered sometime in the next 20 to 30 years in the middle of a mine shaft or in a swamp or never.
Right.
That's where my problems begin. That's like the layers of this.
Right.
It's not just that we have federal agents in these areas. Like, that's, I could understand. If we had, like, nice identified, and nice is just an extraneous word, but identifiable, recognizable federal agents, and hi, you're a friggin' federal agent who could be mistaken.
Right.
Like, it's kind of clear and obvious.
Right, but that's the problem. These are not federal agents. These are not a federal agency. This is a Gestapo that should not be there in America. So, yeah, we've got a government in trouble. We've got people not doing their jobs that aren't elected officials. They're appointed for 2 years. And then we've got people that are not doing their jobs because they don't swear to a president. They don't swear to, a governmental body. They swear to the Constitution, and they're destroying it.
Yeah. Well, but we have, like, a lot of issues there. Like, and I don't know. I'm struggling with that whole situation. And then on top of all of it is, has anyone heard from the NRA? Are they all right? Did they shelter? Did they go underground? Are they in a bunker? Because it seems like we have a lot of tyranny going on without a lot of response from the NRA, who was, I don't know, kind of all upset about the potential of tyranny.
They are probably in either one, their leisurely mansions, 2, trying to figure out what to do about this, or 3, in their bunkers.
Or
I
more
still
importantly,
think that we have had people in bunkers since January.
yeah. Or more importantly, this is the point where you realize that nice argument, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Except that's never what it was about. It was never going to be about that. You were using the Second Amendment as a shield
Mm-hmm.
to claim that you're protecting America,
Uh-huh.
that you're ready to defend, that
Mm-hmm.
you're scared about tyranny.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, you just like your guns because guns.
Right. But, the Ninth and 10th Amendment, I love how people forget that we have more than two amendments.
Oh,
Right
well,
now, Portland, the federal government is a violation of the Ninth and 10th Amendment and possibly the 14th Amendment. And that,
and then you also have to question if there's going to end up being some Fifth Amendment issues.
yes.
Because it doesn't sound like any of this is being handled like a typical law enforcement investigation.
Right.
As in, it's not like you're being arrested, brought into a room, here are your Miranda rights, here is your opportunity to not speak to me,
Uh-huh.
and move forward.
Right. And this is where the Oregon governor should grow a set, because she's grown a set on a number of issues, picked up the phone, called the lovely National Guard, which is the state militia, and ordered them to arrest every federal agent in Portland and detain them.
But right now, you have a lot of issues with that. In terms of you may be sending that militia
Mm-hmm.
to a slaughter. In terms of if you're going to roll out that solution, you're doing it against what is potentially you're sending knives into a gunfight, to say the least.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that right now that's even the best option to initially take, is you may end up provoking a firefight. And that's sad to say that in the US, we are literally dealing with an issue. We may end up provoking a firefight if these governors start deploying their resources.
Yes, and they need to start doing it. We put them in office to do jobs, or they're appointed to office to do jobs. We pay tax dollars for them to do their job. They need to do their jobs.
See, that's the problem with this is yes, sort of, but not. Alexandria is making the point. Is it because Trump declared Antifa as a terrorist group? A lot of National Guardsmen are also federal employees. Again, we're running into a lot of situations here is but backing up to your terrorist group. Theoretically, I don't believe Trump directly has that ability to name something a terrorist group and deploy assets against it. However, Homeland Security very much does.
Mm-hmm.
And if we've not caught on by now, a lot of key positions in our federal government are being held by a lot of, let's say, strong Trump supporters. Others may call them bootlickers. But anyway, a lot of strong Trump supporters that are very keen to do this.
Mm-hmm.
To call, Antifa a terrorist group, even though it has more to do with a belief, anti-fascism, than an actual group. There's no structure. You don't get a membership card. You don't go to meetings. Yet, this is not an organization. Catch the part of organization means you have to have a structure.
Right. And what I find amazing right now is that right here in Fayetteville is a terrorist group. It has been a terrorist group since 1894. And they've yet to declare it a terrorist group.
Well, and then meanwhile, in all of this, I have read, I have not confirmed yet, did Trump actually pull against or push against the KKK being listed as a terrorist group?
Yes, because I believe he's a card-carrying member. His father was.
But yeah, so if we have removed the KKK from the terrorist group scenario, that white supremacy is okay, but anti-fascism isn't?
Uh-huh.
Like, hi. And again, pointing out that this is an apples and oranges comparison. The KKK is a group. You actually get a membership card. They have meetings and a roster and a newsletter and God only knows what else and how horrible it looks. But it's not just like a belief or a thought and an idea. Like, if that's all the KKK was, it would be called white supremacy, which is already what it's called. But there's a group that meets and they call themselves the KKK.
And pays dues.
Yes.
And owns property and owns numerous parts of weaponry. That's where, yes, I had a friend that was not a member. His father was. That's where I saw my first AK-57 at back in the 80s.
Yes, and real quickly, Gordon, we will get to you in just a few.
Yeah. So, really, just really, America. Stand up, wake up, realize that your tax dollars are being misspent in the most needed time for them. We have governmental bodies not doing their jobs because it ain't popular.
And in the middle of all this, we have a United States Postal Service on the brink of disaster with a new Postmaster General who is literally doing everything to destroy the United States Postal Service, confidence in the Postal Service, and our abilities to potentially do a mail-in election.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Hi, guys.
Well, here's the thing. If they can't do mail-in elections, then how can they do mail-in taxes? That's going to be hard.
The IRS has really been pushing for that e-file.
Uh-huh.
They really are tired of you mailing your shit in. They really hate that.
Right.
Really hate that.
I know. That's why I do it every year and make sure not to leave the zip code on it so I can pay 2 cents for the mail. But
oh my goodness.
Here's the thing in general. We are less than 100 days away from an election. Even if the dictator tries to delay it, I don't think that he's going to get support from the Congress that has to do it. Get out, vote. All right, let's take this question.
But here's the thing, though. And real quick, I'm so sorry, Gordon. And thank you for your patience. We really appreciate that. But I do have to say, though, we're already ripping protesters up off the street with unmarked vans and unmarked government officials. What's to stop us from him from deploying that against polling locations?
Well, here's the thing. He better not, because that's definitely when the governors need to step up and use their power. And if you have sworn to protect the Constitution, i.e. every federal and state employee in this country, you better do your job, and that includes our armed forces.
All right. So with that, we have Gordon, and Gordon was born February 2nd of 1965. When you start questions again, I'm going in with 3 other fellas to open an art, antiques, and interior design business in West Huntington. Please tell me what the cards say about our possible success. Hey, that just sounds amazing right now. Can I just say? I'm really hoping the card reading comes out amazing, but That's just me personal.
Okay, Gordon, I'm going to hand it to you straight. Now, remember, I don't sugarcoat anything. It's how it is. I think that you guys are fearing a lot of things. You're looking at the what ifs. You need to overcome those because those are just what ifs. I think that it'll be a good business. You need to immediately put into places if you are running a location that has 500 employees. Who is responsible for what? Who is doing what? Where the responsibility lies, because there needs to be a way to settle the arguments. There needs to be accountability, but there also needs to be diplomaticship here.
So basically, just insert what you just got told. Plan for your success from the very, very beginning. Don't think this is just you and 3 guys going in and this is just not going to be a big deal and that you might fail. Plan for that success. Create the plans. Create your business plans. Put the structures in place now.
Create your employee manual. Your final 2 cards you think is going to look bad, but they aren't. First is temperance. You need to have temperance. You guys have got to keep things into balance because there are a few of you that are workaholics. The reason for that is this is starting out as this arts, antique, interior design business. It may take off and do 4 other different things to where you're teaching classes, you're, taking on large corporations and laying out Marshall's new art center, you're teaching and everything else. So everybody needs to have a plan for when it gets busy, and I would say that's within 18 months of doing this. How are you going to reach the community? What are you going to do with the community? What are you going to do when you have 2 billion followers getting upset because you didn't post a picture today of the lamp you bought at the auction last week?
All right. So it sounds like a great opportunity. I'm glad to hear that.
Yes.
And my big thing is and the reason I latched on to one of the things you said, that's kind of where I'm at business wise for if anyone's looking for business advice, you want to take advantage of the fact Joe went to a business school. Here it is.
And I grew up in business.
Right. Always set up with the intent to succeed, but also a plan for the what ifs as much as you can, as much as you can see. And it may seem like a pie in the sky idea right now for you to have 50 locations and 5,000 employees and millions of dollars in gross receipts. But some of the biggest regrets of major corporations came from how they began and the problems that created later. So if you plan for the success now and it doesn't happen, then at least you have your exit strategy. You know when to pull the cord. Here's the parachute. We got to pull now. We said in the beginning that if we got to X number of months and it looks like this, we're going to pull the cord. We got to pull the cord. Right. But no, even Microsoft went through that. Right. Some of their original setup left the Facebook went through that.
We all have gone through that. Even my business and learning that we got to stop this or we got to start this. But and this kind of ties into a conversation that we had about Mystic this week because we've been working at getting Mystic launched since September of last year.
Well, actually, even before that.
Right.
Because here's the story, guys. I was gung-ho for January 1st, 2019, we are launching Mystic. I am ready to go. And then in February of 2019, that didn't quite happen, didn't quite hit that. Because I was having some neck issues and was going through physical therapy and these kinds of things. As of February, I'm being told I need neck surgery. And I'm going, oh, God. The last thing I want to do right now is launch a business.
Mm-hmm.
The last thing I want to do right now is be successful. The last thing I need is to be uninsured as I'm staring down the barrel of a neck surgery and possible paralysis and a horrible doctor who told me many bad things.
Right.
All of that. So then I had my surgery in September. I was hoping it would be like my previous one, and it'd be like, hey, I'm back in the game, and it wasn't.
Right.
So again, kind of gung-ho for January 1 of 2020. Mm-hmm. We're going to do this. And got a little delayed, and then the world blew up.
Well, not only that, but we still had to work out some things because we have complementary and overlapping skills.
Mm-hmm.
We have, you can do your mainframe crap all day, but if the client's coming to us for social media, they need to be talking to me because you're probably going to be going, I don't know what that button is.
Well, moreover, it's not that I can't figure it out. I can, but ultimately, in some regards, no, I can probably set and dig through and get to the heart of what's going on and all the aspects of social media. But quite frankly, you've been in it.
Yeah.
Like, you are doing it. This is a massive component that makes Aeson Knight Aeson Knight.
Right.
As a brand.
Right.
So you're already there.
Exactly. I'm already there, and we had to work out, okay, is this your business, our business? Is this your department? Is that, like Facebook, client contacts you on Facebook, they come to me. We had to draw those lines out because otherwise we will collide. It'll be like, oh no, you'll have to get, and it's like, yeah, you can. By the way, here's how you do it. And then we get into that business struggle. So you think about those things. I'm sure that the guys that are, your art, your antiques, your interior design, you guys have complementary things. You have really great friendships. You've got to draw lines. Like if someone's doing interior design and they want to get antiques out of the store for the design, well, the customer and the person over antiques have to talk about the price. It's not the interior designer coming back and doing that. Draw your lines there and keep them strong, because believe me, I've been in partnerships before, business partnerships, business relations, and if you don't have clear responsibilities, then nothing gets done, and then you have mold growing in your customer bathroom because it's nobody's responsibility to clean it.
And also, I would say pre-think the situation, because this also happens to a lot of businesses. Pre-think the situation in which, so this is a 4-person situation. Go ahead and think out 3 of you hate one. Like this one asshole, nah, y'all are there. Pre-think that. Mm-hmm. Also, pre-think the situation, as bad as this sounds, but it happens in a lot of businesses. You find out something horrible about any of these other individuals or multiple of them. Like so-and-so is screwing so-and-so's boyfriend and so-and-so's screwing so-and-so's wife and blah, or whatever. Like, or, someone molests the kid, whatever. Horrible things can sometimes happen. And they can also create massive explosions in businesses. Mm-hmm. Not in a good way. Like, total lock the doors, burn it to the ground, out the door, it's over. Like, it's an I lost a word in my head just now. I had it and it was gone. Irreconcilable differences. Like, right. Think of it like a marriage, because you are marrying 3 other people. Like, that's what you're doing. You're tying your finances together. You're tying your lives together. You might as well screw. Because, and I'm not advising that, but you get what I'm saying, is that like you're connecting each other together. You have to be prepared for the divorce should it need to happen. Because quite frankly, what is it? Something like 50-60% of businesses fail?
Last statistic was 76% of all businesses fail within the first 2 years.
And if you're looking at it from a marriage perspective, your odds are better. It's only 50. But even within that, of the successful 50%, of the successful 24%, it wasn't just like these geniuses showed up and did everything right and the world loved them. No, not how that works. At some point, someone threw a stapler at someone and told them to get the fuck out.
Yeah.
Like, it happens. It happens. Like, every relationship has that moment when it's like, I could kill you right now.
Mm-hmm.
The difference is, how did they deal with it? How did they work through it? How did they make that move on?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Just saying. Like, that's the biggest one. But yes, we wish you tremendous success.
Exactly. I think it'll be fabulous. I think you're going to do very well, but you need to lay your framework very, very carefully. Very, very carefully. And you need to be able to really, on some things, you've got to see trends before they get there, like vinyl records. I sold a whole 10 by 12 room stacked to the ceiling of vinyl records for a penny a piece.
Oh, I'm sure you're not the only one that was there. I'm sure there are people that threw that shit out.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what they thought it was. Like, who's gonna want vinyl? You know, I mean, and like sometimes that's just the way it works. And again, sometimes it's a good business move. Like, it made sense at the time. Like, you can't hold on to everything forever, hoping that maybe one day you are sitting upon the giant stack of cash.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you just have to recognize this isn't building my life.
Exactly. It's holding my life back.
Mm-hmm.
Well, guys, we're at that time again. Just some PR stuff. Mystic, what is it? What is your new website?
Our new website, it's the same website. It's mysticpcwv.com.
Yeah, we've not been pushing it.
I know.
Yeah.
Mystic
PC is up. You can reach out to Mystic PC for your computer small business needs. We handle everything from social media all the way up. You can go to aesonknight.com, book your readings. There will be some online classes. We are working on a few projects to be making classes and education more available. And that'll be good. We also have, and I'll flip that up, and it's your job.
Alrighty. We would love to thank our Patreon supporters, and we do. So Beverly Walker and Crystal Lotus Shop, thank you so much. We are so glad you are patient and wonderful and loving Patreon supporters. We do. We certainly appreciate it. And if any of you watching or listening would like to support the show, please visit PCSPnetwork.com. You can learn more about becoming a Patreon supporter and see all of our wonderful content and access a lot of awesome stuff.
Yep. And some other cool things. We want to welcome our tune-in listeners or iHeart listeners. They were added to our broadcasting universe this week. And it is a joy to have you there. Our catalog is up. Also, if you are following me on Instagram and you missed the show, not a problem. You can see it in 2 parts on IGTV. So, guys, have a great week. We will see you back on Tuesday.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to sit down tomorrow night and do a chat with Aeson and coffee. It will not be on Mountain Bears. It will not be on the Psychic Coffee Shop. It'll be only on Aeson Knight channels. So if you guys aren't subscribed to Aeson Knight on Facebook, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Facebook and YouTube, please do so that you can hop into the chats with me.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So until then, good night, y'all.
Good night. I was just going to quickly say, and we got our copyright claim.
Yes, we did get released from our copyright claim. We won that one. See, I dealt with that crap before.
Yes. Good
Good
night.
night, y'all.